This is Carl at National RV Detroit, and I'm going to walk you through this 2021 Flagstaff Classic Model 826 MBR. Okay, so we're obviously on the door side of the trailer at the rear, so we'll start here with the stabilizers. So the rear stabilizers, you have one switch and it operates both rear jacks. It just extends and retracts, obviously. Now you don't lift the trailer with these jacks. You're just going to take the movement out of it. It does nothing more than stabilize. You can't actually lift with it. So I'm sure you probably know that, but you'd be surprised how many people don't. So just go ahead and you stabilize it, and then on the front there's there's one switch for both front stabilizers also. Okay. You have a power awning with an LED strip. This is a 110 volt AC refrigerator. There's no switch, so as soon as you plug in the trailer it turns on. You have a sprayer here, and in the trailer there's a coiled sprayer with a handset, which I'll show you when we get to it. Also there's an LP quick connect right down here. If you can see it, let me get it. See if I can get it on the monitor here. Yeah, right there. So that's a quick connect for your LP. So if you hang your grill or griddle right on this rail, you would use that quick connect down there to plug it in. Okay. You have antenna out and power. If you wanted to put a TV set, you even have a mounting bracket up there. Outside speakers. Now this is the 9 times out of 10 you're going to fill this trailer. Or I'm sorry, you're going to use city water to get water to the trailer. When you go to a campground that does not have city water, on the sites, like let's say an older state park, you'll pre-fill this tank, and then you use the onboard pump to pump water, and everything in the trailer, all the plumbing will work just like you have city water, even though you're pumping out of the tank. But like I said, most places have city water now, but just in case, you've got that system. And there's a fresh water drain down here, just so you can see it. It's a white gate valve under there. It dumps really quickly, so that's for your fresh water tank. So if you're not going to, you don't use all your fresh water in the tank and you're leaving, you can just pull the gate valve and dump it. The stairs fold into the trailer, obviously, and you can adjust the length of the legs. Each leg has this metal piece right there. You just push that in and slide it up and down. You can adjust the legs to the terrain that you're parked on independently of each other. So that's a good thing. This is your water heater. This water heater is both gas and electric. Always make sure there's water in the water heater tank before you turn it on, because if you turn on the electric heating element, it'll burn it out in a minute or so. So keep that in mind. Now the switches are inside, but there's one switch here, which is this rocker switch right here. You can see it's off right now, but that controls the power to the heating element that's behind this cover here. So when you're ready to turn on the electric feature, you'll flip this switch on. Okay. The other switches are all inside. I'll show you that when we get in there. The thing is, like I said before, make sure there's water in it before you turn it on. That's very important. I got to get it with one hand here, which I'm not going to be able to do with one hand, so I'll come back to that. Okay, this hookup here is just for a solar panel. It's a solar panel battery charger, so if you wanted to get one of those, that's where you would plug it in, and it will just charge your batteries. Okay, so this is your griddle. I told you it hung on that rail. There's the rack it hangs on, right there. And there's the quick connect back there. Hopefully you can see it. Hopefully, I'm sorry. But that's where you'd hook the hose to. So that's the griddle. This is the switch, obviously, for your front stabilizers at your docking light. You've got a power tongue jack. Now, if this tongue jack was to fail, you can pull this plug right here and use the 3/4 inch crank or a 3/4 inch socket on a drill, whatever, to move this up and down. So you can always hitch and unhitch no matter what, even if something was to happen to it. Okay. You got two 30-pound LP tanks that are full, and there's an automatic changeover regulator. So you're just going to open both tanks and let it drain one down and then go to the next. When you hear it drawn from the next tank, you'll know it's time to take one off and fill it. So It just goes back and forth that way. You have 2 deep cycle marine batteries. Now they're wired together as one battery, so it's just double the storage capacity. So it's 12 volt, just double the storage capacity. And also, keep in mind, there's a, right down here, you can probably see it, I hope, right there. That's a kill switch for the battery. So you can completely disconnect the batteries from the coach itself. Therefore, if you have you know, like the carbon monoxide detector, LP detectors are all both hardwired to the battery, so it'll continue to draw power no matter what. So the phantom power will still draw unless you disconnect the battery. So when you put it into storage, you turn that to off position, you won't have that issue. Also, let me see here. I'm just looking around to see what we've got here. So we have more storage here. That's your dump hose. Okay, I'm going to walk back around the other side real quickly. Got a disorganized frame of mind this morning for some reason. I'm sorry. So this hole right here, if you were to, if you could see through that with this camera, you'd see there's a shaft sticking out of the frame with a pin through it. By turning that, you can crank this slide out in and out manually if it was to fail, right? Also, let me see what else we have here. Okay. Let me look behind the steps here. Yeah, so it's behind the steps actually. I won't pull them up, but trust me when I say there's another hole right there behind the steps. That would be for the main slide out. So you can crank that too manually if you were to have problems with it. The way you do that, I'm starting to get on stride here now, so here we go. Sorry. So here we go. So to do that, you would use this crank right here. I know my camera works a little off here. So this is the crank you would use for that. So you can get yourself out of trouble, no problem. Now, the 3/4 inch crank that I said you can use for the power tongue jack is right here. The sprayer I told you about is right here. You could quick connect. All right. This is your 50 amp, 30-foot power cord. I have just a regular cord plugged in for this demo. Now we also give you a dog bone reducer for it, so it reduces down to 30 amp. You also get another one that'll reduce it down to 10 and 15. Just remember you can't run the air conditioners on 15 amps. So, but to get yourself out of trouble, you've got enough reducers to plug into just about anything. So, okay. All right. So here we are at the dump area. You have black tank valve, which is for the black tank obviously, which is toilet water and waste. Gray tank is for sink and shower water. And let me see, there might be another one up here for the galley tank. Let me look. Yeah, right there. So there is another one under the slide out. That's just the galley tank. The galley tank is gray tank number 2. It's basically for the kitchen sink. This gray tank is for the bathroom sink and shower. Okay. So what you do is you dump the black tank first because it's dirtiest water, toilet water and waste. Then you dump the gray one to help wash it out. Okay. Then you come over here to this panel here, and you see this one is right here is the tank flush. You put the hose of the dump station on here. You leave the black valve open and turn on the water, and it'll spray out your black tank. It'll clean off the sensors, just wash it out, and then wash out the hose somewhat too. So it's a good thing to do whenever you can. Now your city water connection, remember on the other side I showed you how to fill the fresh water tank. The city water connection is right here. This is what you'll almost always use. So you just hook your hose on there, turn it on, and you're all set. It's important to get a regulator. You know, they cost 10 or 20 bucks or 15 bucks or something. It's just a inline regulator so you can regulate the water pressure going into your trailer. Of course, that's where you plug in at, of course. That's just an outside shower for kids and dogs and feet and bicycles, whatever you want to hose down. Also down here you have your low points, which has to do with winterizing. If you don't know about that, you'll have to educate yourself a bit. And then you have this here. This is to draw antifreeze into the system when you're winterizing. So you make up a hose, you go to Home Depot or Lowe's and get the parts. This is just the regular garden hose fitting. And you make it long enough, the hose long enough to reach the ground. So what you'll do is you'll put the hose on here and then you put the other end into a gallon of antifreeze, and then you use the onboard water pump to pump it through the system, just to give you a rough idea. Before you do that, there's one valve you have to change. That's right by the water pump. The valve either selects the fresh water tank or this port here. Normally it's just drawing from the fresh water tank. But when you winterize, you want to draw through that port, so you'd have to change it. Also, you can sort of see in here a little bit, there's a canister right here. You get a water filter with this trailer and a wrench. So that's where you would put the water filter if you want to use it. If you do use it, you got to change it every season. You know, put it in the spring and throw it out in the fall. It's held, this partition here is held in by one number 2 square-headed screw. All the screws are number 2 square-headed, so you have to get a bit or a driver for that if you don't have it. That's every screw in the trailer. So this is just a safety thing that I'm sure their legal department has something to do with. You see it in all the trailers, but you just pull that out and move the panel, and you can see the water pump canister, or the water filter canister, and then that valve I told you about that will select between the antifreeze line and the fresh water tank. Okay. This housing tells us we're pre-wired for a backup camera. We do sell them here. If you're interested, you can talk to the people up front. It just takes a few minutes for us to hook it up. Basically, whenever you turn on your running lights, the camera will light up. So you can leave it on when you're going down the road, or just use it when you're backing up, whatever you want to do. Also, you have a ladder, of course, which makes it easy to inspect your roof. The roof should be inspected every 90 days. You figure that once in the spring, once in the middle of summer, once in the fall, you go up there or have somebody go up there and look around at all the sealant, make sure there's no cracking or separation. Look at the roofing material, make sure no road debris flipped up there or low branches scraped it. Look at the vent covers to make sure that they're in good shape. You're just inspecting. Some years, sometime you're going to have to do some maintenance to it, so that's why you inspect it, just so when that time comes, you'll catch it and take care of it before your trailer gets water in it. So that's every trailer ever made has to be inspected, the roof. Okay? All right, I'm starting to pick up now. Okay, so here we go inside. This is your control panel right here. It's kind of hard to see because it's up so high and I'm so short, but you can let your water heater on electric and in gas right here. Remember, there's another electric switch in the lower left-hand corner, so there's 2 of them. Your water pump's here. You have tank heaters, which are heating pads on your storage tanks, so it'll just keep them from freezing longer. You can go out earlier in the spring and later in the fall. Okay. This is the Wi-Fi Ranger right here. The Wi-Fi Ranger, you see this sticker right here? The top line is what your Wi-Fi Ranger is called, which is Teton, I can barely see it, 8746. So when you look at your phone, the Wi-Fi on your phone, you'll find that, and that's what you're going to hook up to. So you put that password at all your family's devices, so it automatically will hook up to the Wi-Fi Ranger. The Wi-Fi Ranger is a signal booster that's on the roof that will clean up and give you better bandwidth on public Wi-Fi, campground Wi-Fi. All right, so this bottom line here, it says control panel, that's an address you punch into your browser, any browser, and it'll take you to the website for this particular device, and it will be able to see everything it sees, right? So then you would pick out the campground Wi-Fi, for example. If they gave you a password when you checked in, you'd punch it in there and you're hooked up to it. The middle line is the temporary password. Change me now. In this case, it's 8746. And now, of course, they'll give you a prompt after that to make up your own password. All right, so that's what the Wi-Fi Ranger is. It's a signal booster, and it works really well. There is another function that you can look into if you were interested. It's a cellular function. You can put a SIM card in it. You'd pay a separate fee, just like you would, if you got another phone or anything. And whoever you get your service from, Verizon or whatever it is, you would go to them and just add this on. And people generally, when they work from their trailer, they might get it, but the most common Wi-Fi Ranger feature is the free Wi-Fi booster. So, okay, hopefully I explained that okay to you. You have lights down here. You can check your battery, your fresh water tank, your black, gray, and gray 2. Now it lights up in 1/3 increments, so as it fills, it'll light up in 1/3 increments. When you get to 2/3, you got to start thinking about dumping the black and gray tank, so keep that in mind. And then you have your slide out buttons here and your power awning here. Remember, never leave the power awning out unattended. The wind can come up quickly and damage it, so just make sure you always bring it in when you're not going to be using it. Now this is for your solar panel. So you push button B. There's not A and B battery. There's only one battery because they're wired together as one, so this sees it as one battery. Okay, so here we go. Right now there's the sun, and the arrow's pointing towards the solar panel. You're getting 4.4 amps are being sent to your batteries. Okay, push it again. You're charged 100%. 146 amp hours, which is excellent. 13.5 volts you're putting out, so you know that. And if you could see it, it tells you what kind of battery you have, but you don't need to know that. You have a flooded battery, that's all that matters. Okay? And of course you can charge a phone or something, get into an emergency, use the panel here, that sort of thing. But it just lets you know what's happening with the solar panel and the battery storage. Okay? Also, there is an app, so keep that in mind. You can go to the Apple Store or to Google Play and download the amp, which lets you do the awnings, the slide outs, the lights, all that sort of thing from your phone. Okay, hopefully you can see that good. I should have brought a stool or something to step on, but you know, I didn't. I don't like to humiliate myself too often, so I didn't do that. Obviously your TV works like any other TV. One thing to keep in mind is this does lock into place, but I'll swing it out. One thing to keep in mind, if I can find it, you can barely see it. See right up here, hopefully you can see that. There's a green LED. That's the signal booster for the digital antenna. That should always be green when you're using the antenna. There's a button right next to it where you can turn it on and off, but you just leave it on when you're using antenna, okay? Hopefully you can see that okay. It's a tough one. Alright, so with your sound system you can play CDs and DVDs here. You can stream off a USB stick. You can go into the system through this HDMI, so if you got like a game machine for kids or grandkids on a rainy weekend, you could set it right here, plug it in, and go right into the system that way. It's very simple. Alright, also you've got 3 zones. Zone 1 is this room, Zone 2 is the bedroom, and Zone 3 is outside. Now keep in mind, Z3 controls, that's Zone 3. You can set the volume and the source outside separately from inside. So if somebody was watching a video in here and you wanted to listen to a radio show outside or some music outside, you can set the volume of the speakers outside and the source using Zone 3. You have to refer to your material, to your reading material, to get it, if you don't understand that, to explain it. But basically you're just going to light it up and it's going to give you options to set the source and the volume for the outside speakers. Alright, hopefully that made sense. You have Bluetooth. Obviously you can hook up with Bluetooth wirelessly and stream that way from your phone or tablet. You have the rest of the stuff, AM, FM radio, and presets and the stuff you'd normally find on a radio, okay? Alright, and of course the sound bar underneath. I gotta pick up the pace here. I only have a half hour before this file. This stops and starts a new file, so this is your sparker right here. It turns clockwise. So you're just going to turn it to on and spark it. You can see we lit right there. Next one, spark it, and you lit. Okay? Now the oven's a little bit different. Down here, all the way at the back, is a pilot light. Now if I spark it, you can see it sparking. See it? Okay. So what you do is you will come to the far right knob, which is the oven knob. You'll go to pilot, which is a picture of the flame, and you depress it and hold it. You always keep it depressed. Then you're going to spark it by turning this clockwise until the pilot light down there lights. After it lights, you still hold it for another 10 seconds depressed, and then you let go of it, go to operating temperature, and it works like it cycles like an oven does. But when you shut it off, the flame goes out, obviously, but so does the pilot light. So you have to relight the pilot light each time. Okay, this is your vent hood fan. Keep in mind this vents to the outside, so there's a baffle on the outside vent that you have to pull loose if you're going to use the fan. Otherwise, you keep that shut when you're traveling or storage. Microwave works like any other microwave. This device, we'll talk to you about it when you get here, but this is, there it is right there. This is just checks the temperature and the pressure in your tires. So we'll show you how that works. That's the other reducer to reduce your power cord down one more level. This is a 12-volt compressor refrigerator. So it runs off 12-volt, but it's better than it does not run on gas like a gas absorption does, but because it doesn't have the gas absorption, the cooling unit behind there, it's much deeper, so you got a lot more cubic feet in there. So it just runs off 12 volts. It'll run off the power converter or the battery. If you're going down the road, it'll run off the battery, and the battery will be charged by your tow vehicle. Okay, so let me find here it is here. So I was mentioning the power converter. This here is the power converter. This converts 110 AC to 12 volt DC. So you got regular circuit breakers like you'd see at home right here, and they're labeled. Then the power is converted to 12 volt DC over here, and they're all labeled. If any of these fuses were to blow, you'll actually see them through this tinted plastic here, so you would know it. Also, as long as you're plugged in, this is a battery tender, so it'll keep both of your batteries charged. If they're low, it'll send 10 amps or whatever they need. If they're charged, it'll just trickle a couple. Either way, it'll keep your batteries charged when you're plugged in. So charges your battery, plus runs everything in here that's 12 volt DC, which is everything that can run on 12 volt DC that does, like the refrigerator and all the lights and the motors and that sort of thing. Your slide rooms, your power awning, those are all 12 volt. Okay. All right, so let me look around, see if I forgot anything. Obviously, you got switches to adjust your chair, your chairs. Okay. Your thermostat is very simple. You're just going to hit mode and system buttons till you know, right now we're heat off, obviously. It'll offer a fan, which is nothing more than the air conditioner running without the compressor, and then it'll say cool, which is obviously the air compressor. Now, try to always run the fan speed. Try to always keep it on auto when you're doing that. That's the best way to go with it. All right, so this is pre-wired for a second air conditioner. That's why it's a 50 amp system. It would go right here in your bedroom, and you see that's probably what that sticker says, but it would go right into here. It's simple install, but it's pre-wired for it. And this is the spot where you would hook up the sensor for this room, so your thermostat can read what the temperature is in here. So behind there are wires, and that's what that's telling us. Okay, you have drawers underneath here, plus the platform comes up. It's got hydraulics underneath it. All right. Of course, let's see. You've got TV hookups and a backing plate right there. Remember, the wall is only about 1 inch. So if you're going to put in a backer plate there, make sure it's short enough. You don't want to go through the trailer. You've got another vent here. This is a 4-speed max air vent. So it'll really crank, and it goes very slowly too. If you run it slowly on days where you've got a lot of people up front and there's a lot of condensation from their breath because of that time of year, you can put this on low and it'll pull all that out of the trailer, no problem. Also, always run this with the shower, because this trailer is built super tight. So you always want to pull the humidity out created by the shower so it doesn't cause mold or mildew. Now, the shower, the only thing to know about it, this is the shower miser. What the shower miser is a recirculator. So what it does is when you're heating up the hot water, or you're heating the water to take a shower, while it's running through the pipes and doing all that, you're going to waste a gallon of water or 2 gallons or whatever it is, right? With this, you can turn it like into recycle mode, and it'll just go around in a loop. So you're not using up any fresh water. If there's, like in California, they got droughts all the time, you wouldn't be wasting water there. Or if you have it in your fresh water tank, you wouldn't be wasting water out of your fresh water tank. And not only that, it goes into the gray tank, so you don't lose any storage in your gray tank, right? Because it just loops around. So while it's looping, it'll heat up. Once this changes color, you'll see it distinctly change color. You know that it's hot, and then you would put it in regular position and take your shower. So it's just a recirculator, so you don't waste water heating it up. Okay. Also, I want to say that everything in here has paper in the packet. It has some kind of literature for it. Plus, you can go to their websites and look at the specific product videos, which are great. I always try to stick with first-party videos if you can, but that's an excellent way to learn more if you need to. Alright, so the other thing to know about this is the toilet. I'm sure you know this, but you can't use the toilet dry. By dry, I mean nothing in the black tank, which is directly below us. So I'll step on the pedal. That's the black tank down there. You can see a little water is coming out. That's the residual pressure. But if we were hooked up to water, it would be swirling out right now. So when you get to the campground, you park, obviously, you hook up your water and your power. Then you come in here and you step on this pedal, and you let about a gallon of water or so go into the black tank. Then you dump your chemical in, and you're all set. The thing is, you can't use it dry because of this, obviously the smell, and you can also get clogged up if you do it that way too. So you always start with some water and chemical in it. Now, if you were, let's say you had to get your black tank dumped because it was full, and you're going to stay another week. After you dump the black tank, you would come in here and repeat that procedure. You'd step on it, put a gallon or so of water in there, and the chemical. Okay. All right. So I think I've covered it here. Let me look around a bit and see if I forgot anything. I think I pretty much covered all the important stuff. There's also that's your carbon monoxide LP gas detector right there. Also, if it beeps real slow, it's telling you your batteries are low. So it does that, okay? And there's another switch here. Okay, now the switch. The inverter, this has a power inverter which converts 12 volts to 110 AC, right? So it'll use your battery, which are 12 volts, and it'll convert it to AC power. This switch right here is the one you would, or this plug right here is inverted. So if you had to plug something in to use AC power, that's where you plug it in. It does not invert every plug in the trailer or anything like that. You can't run the air conditioning off it like some people will tell you. It's all about storage. It'll gobble up the storage in the batteries real quick, and so it would work, but just for a very short time. Okay, so you can invert with this trailer and convert. Convert is going from AC to DC. Inverting is going from DC to AC. Okay? Okay, well, thank you very much. Remember what I told you about checking the seals on the roof. That's very important. Also, you have to winterize the trailer. So thanks for purchasing your trailer here at National RV Detroit, and thanks again.